Hey, this is Notser. This is the user replay of the week. HARVOX is in the Tier 9 Japanese destroyer Kagero, and they are on the map Two Brothers. If you have a replay you'd like to submit, please submit it to notserreplay@gmail.com. Please have the replay file, in-score screenshots, 1 to 2 sentence summary, and please include the ship name in the title of the email. All of this really helps me out, so I can decide, hey, is it worth my time to watch it? Is it worth the time of the channel to view it? If you can't produce an amazing game, maybe you can produce an amazing moment. Just include the timestamp along with everything else when you submit that replay. HARVOX is moving forward towards D. Doesn't look like he has any takers on his team, but we'll see how it goes. Now, notice something unique about HARVOX. He is using a consumable that is rarely used. I have actually never used it. I just did not like that I had to sacrifice smoke for this consumable. Basically, it increases the speed that your torpedoes rearm, so you'll get them up 50% faster. The reload of that consumable is extremely long. We're talking radar levels of rearm, so you only get to use it 2-3 times, if that, and you need to make sure you use it in the right moment or it's completely wasted. Sort of like radar. Now, this particular game occurred in 0.5.4. I have been trying to find fantastic finishers, and this could be or could not be. HARVOX is scouted by the enemy torpedo bomber, and for whatever reason, the torpedo bomber does not use that information to his advantage. He just continues on. He doesn't keep HARVOX scouted. He doesn't force HARVOX to try and hide. This is exactly why smoke is so good. If the aircraft carrier would have played it the way I would have played it, he could easily kill HARVOX. HARVOX cannot hide from him. He can't pop smoke. He can't run away fast enough. If the aircraft carrier played it correctly, in my opinion, and focused down isolated targets, a destroyer is a perfectly isolated target, he would have more success. HARVOX would probably be dead. What happened, HARVOX? Did you hit a destroyer with your torpedoes? I think he did. Yeah, he definitely did. That destroyer is north of D. And he goes, lol, never. Well, it's not never, right? I'm sure HARVOX is feeling great. He's like, the game's already won. It feels great. The enemy is sending their aircraft and enemy torpedoes. HARVOX, why are you zooming in on torpedoes? Look at your torpedoes. You might take. Okay. We're all good, Notser. We're all good. The enemy has sent bombers, torpedo bombers, towards the aircraft carrier on the eastern side of the map. That is not good. They know where he is, and they intend to kill him. Since this is 0.5.4, there's no defensive fire to protect the aircraft. And it's not going to be good. We got, 2 torpedo bombers and 5 dive bombers? Yeah, he's basically dead. He has no AA protection whatsoever. I think he's the one with all of the dive bombers and the torpedo bombers at the enemy base. The enemy aircraft carriers have 5 ships protecting them, so they're not going to die. And yep, sure enough, the enemy aircraft carriers take out the friendly aircraft carrier on the eastern side of the map. HARVOX has yet to run into anyone at all. Now, there was a Mayhem that appeared to actually try and fire on HARVOX. They never actually saw the enemy destroyer that he took out until it appeared on the map. So there's really not a good idea of what's actually out there. There are 3 enemies by A, and there's about 5 enemy ships just north of B. So that's 8 ships. There's 2 undetected, and we just found one of them. It's an enemy Mayhem. He has not detected HARVOX, thankfully. HARVOX sends out 1 narrow spread. Don't be confused by the widespread that appears. These are all narrow spread. There's no way that a widespread would be that tightly packed that far away. And for whatever reason, the Mayhem tried to park it right at the tip, and it didn't work out for him. He died to 1 torpedo and 2 clearly made contact, so he was dead no matter what, even if he was at 100% life. And that was with 1 set, HARVOX. How are you getting this lucky? Why would a destroyer just allow themselves to die like that? I will never understand. I have been that dumb too. But you learn at some point that if one of my buddies dies to a destroyer, then there's clearly going to be a destroyer somewhere out there. He's not going to just randomly retreat for no reason. I mean, I guess he could, but that's not going to happen. HARVOX has still one more set, and he can use it on this enemy rune. It looks like the enemy cruiser has a backup cruiser, and we'll see where he actually goes. Maybe they felt like, the aircraft carrier, they could take care of themselves now. There's only one enemy left that has aircraft. HARVOX sends out his torpedoes ahead of the enemy rune, and he's hoping that the enemy will maintain the direction. At the very least, right? Surely he wouldn't change his course just at the worst possible moment, and of course he does. Every destroyer captain knows that feeling. You send out great torpedoes, and the enemy decides, you know what? I want to turn left now, for no reason. But HARVOX has his other set, the set that was responsible for the death of Mayhan. And he's sending out, trying to get him maybe to maintain. He did a course correction rather recently. Why would he change his course now? There's no reason to. So this cruiser is still maintaining the exact same course that he turned into to avoid the first torpedoes, by accident, of course. And 2 torpedoes make contact. He takes out the enemy rune, and he pulls a Notser. Which, if we're going to be honest, it's the best part of the replay, right? The enemy cruiser that was supposedly the backup to the rune, the Kutuze, pulls back. He doesn't want to fight. He's already at 50% life. I don't blame him. So, running into the island, all style. It was all part of the plan to get him stopped so he can move forward again. Now, this enemy aircraft carrier is being a little annoying. He actually has his fighters close enough to detect HARVOX, and HARVOX decides, okay, it's so close, let's turn on the AA. He probably selected with his cursor. That is not displayed in the replay. An enemy cruiser, a Baltimore, shows up. Interesting. And HARVOX is on the other side of the island. He doesn't have to worry about fire right now. He is detected, so the Baltimore knows he's right there, along with the friendly Baltimore. The enemy Baltimore has a lot of information. Now, is he going to use it correctly? Well, if I had that information, I probably wouldn't be in a position to take fire from 2 enemy ships. I certainly wouldn't be trying to capture a base that I know I'm outnumbered in. But you never know. Maybe he's going to get a detonation on the hero. The hero's going to be taken out. And then it's only going to be a Baltimore versus a Baltimore. And here come the shots. Oh, this is going to not hurt at all. He missed completely. Wow. The friendly Baltimore just took out the fighters. So HARVOX is not detected anymore. This is wonderful. He's going to send out his torpedoes in a narrow spread. I know it's displayed as wide. It is a narrow spread ahead of the Baltimore. And the Baltimore has to decide, am I going to continue on this course? Am I going to turn back? And it looks like he's actually going to turn back. That possibly is in response to the friendly Baltimore. He has to maintain good angling if he expects to take 2v1. But don't feel bad, HARVOX. I would have done the exact same thing. He does get an opportunity to use the consumable, the illustrious consumable that we've never seen. His torpedoes are already back up. Now, he is detected because he's right in front of the enemy. And is the Baltimore going to change his firing arc to the hero? We'll see. But HARVOX is going to use his gun since he's detected. He sends out his torpedoes. I'm sure this enemy Baltimore has no idea that torpedoes are incoming. I would never expect someone to use this consumable. And I'm sure he's going, wait, what? Torpedoes? Is there another destroyer in this area? How can there be torpedoes already in the water? And he's destroyed by HARVOX. I'm sure he feels so frustrated. How in the hell did this enemy destroyer have the opportunity to rearm his torpedoes so fast? Is he a cheater? Is he a hacker? That's at least where most people go. And, no, he's not a cheater or a hacker like that. That's not how wargaming products work. The game is actually on a server, so you can't manipulate the information that you gather. Like a wall hack. You can't do that. You can't change the cooldowns on abilities. That's just locked to the server. But what you can do is you can have assists to improve your accuracy. You can have assists to improve the information that you're gaining, but you can't actually have some instant magnetism and have your accuracy set to perfect. That just doesn't work. You have to work within the guidelines of the game on the server. And HARVOX, he doesn't really do a lot to explain away what he's using. He just says it's a skill. I have to replace the smoke. Now, I wouldn't know what that is. What? I never see it. And funny enough, the Baltimore knows what he's talking about. And he's just shocked that someone would use it. I would be shocked too. HARVOX decides not to use his torpedoes, of course, against this low health cruiser. Instead, he's going to try and use his guns. Now, he has sustained pretty good damage. He's lost one of his guns, his turret. This is before the buff to the health, so it's not ideal. But he does relight the fire on the enemy cruiser and he takes him out. He earns Kraken Unleashed, and there's still 8 minutes left in the match. And yeah, the Baltimore didn't expect it. Don't blame you, man. HARVOX is sort of dead in the water right now, but there's no enemies in the area. He's probably going to use his consumable, repair it, go back, take D, and look to put pressure on the enemy. Now, the enemy has captured C. There was something that snuck in, right? It must have been a destroyer. One of the enemy aircraft carriers was scouted in the northeast side of the map. So once HARVOX takes the point, he could decide to go take C or maybe put pressure on the enemy. His team does have an advantage by 1 ship and also by 200 points-ish. Ooh, the Baltimore. Can you survive, Baltimore? Avoid taking another torpedo? I would love to see his point of view. I'm sure he's just right in between two. And is he going to take a dive bomber? It doesn't matter. But hey, at least he was able to avoid that second torpedo, only to die 5 seconds later. Well, the enemy team has definitely not given up, and both of the enemy aircraft carriers are in the northeast. We actually scout out that there's a enemy destroyer over by A, capturing it behind a battleship. I'm sure the battleship hates his life. Help me! You can't leave me! And yeah, it sucks, right? You have a destroyer on your butt, you can't do anything, you don't have any support from the smalls, and you're probably going to take torpedoes and die if you can't get away. So in this situation, the enemy aircraft carriers have the potential to take out each and every friendly ship. This Kutuzov is probably a torpedo attack from dying. Dive bombers would assist as well. They have pretty good opportunity to win the game, quite honestly. HARVOX is very low. It would only take 1 torpedo strike to take him out. But HARVOX is going to try and put pressure back on the enemy aircraft carriers as they attack his friends. And the enemy Lexington, it looks like he's going to pull a tactical Notser. He's going to have to hide his ship as best as he can while trying to do damage to the enemy ships that are assaulting his point. They have yet to kill the friendly cruisers, and I don't know if that's good or bad. Either they're burning down or flooding out, but they have such a quick rearm, and one of the enemy destroyers was actually in this area as well. He's pretty low though. He can't really afford to do much. HARVOX has narrow spread, and he just needs to get 2-3 torpedoes on the enemy. He's going to use the 2 turrets that he actually has and try and take him out. Now, this would be a huge deal to take this guy out. They did lose that Kutuzov, and now they're trying to work on the friendly cruiser with their torpedo bombers. And the Lexington, I'm sure he's aware. Oh, there's torpedoes. You know there's torpedoes. But he's going to take 2. He took 2. He died. 1 enemy aircraft carrier down. 1 more left, and the enemy destroyer that's over by the Colorado is still alive, so we'll see how he works out. The Hatsuharu died so quickly, I have no idea what killed him. Probably 1 salvo from a friendly cruiser. and HARVOX is just so excited. The auto, this was an auto strike from the Lexington. Who died? You always have to be prepared that perhaps the enemy might try and do something like that, and sure enough he did. But HARVOX was ready and he dodged it preemptively. He's trying to get not only his torpedoes in range, but also his guns in range. And the enemy destroyer's dead, but I think he took out the Colorado. The friendly cruiser's also dead. It's now just HARVOX and this enemy aircraft carrier. And if the aircraft carrier gets a good torpedo attack, it's over. That's all he needs. He has within his power the ability to take out HARVOX, but HARVOX is not going to allow this. He is trying his best to kill him before an enemy tries to attack him. And this game has become a lot closer than it should have been. Here come enemy torpedo bombers. But it looks like HARVOX, I think HARVOX is going to kill him before the torpedo bombers get a torpedo off, and the torpedoes so close to actually killing, and they actually do. They kill off the enemy aircraft, and did you see how close the torpedo bomber happened to be 5 seconds earlier? And it probably would have been a situation where HARVOX had to pull an evasive maneuver, but he didn't. He killed off the aircraft carrier, was irrelevant. HARVOX almost earned 600,000 credits. He got First Blood, Kraken Unleash, 2 devastating strikes, 9 torpedo hits, 7 kills, 2 base captures. Fantastic job, HARVOX. You really were a one-man army on the eastern side of the map. HARVOX earned 3,653 base XP. And HARVOX is the only ship that survived on either side. What a bloodbath. HARVOX did around 105,000 points of damage, 85,000 in torpedo damage in 16 minutes. Just a fantastic game, HARVOX. Thank you for sharing. I'm just sorry it took 3 months to find it. I hope everyone enjoyed the game. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.